So, hey guys, so welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to take a little hike, and I have something I want to talk to you about. So let's head down there. So what I'm ready to talk to you about is 8 months ago, I was actually diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. I knew I wanted to make this video at some point, and not just as an FYI or, so that everyone will know, but really for my own personal processing. And I felt that it was a good thing to kind of go through the different steps of what's gotten me to the point I'm at right now. So my diagnosis was a bit of a surprise. I really hadn't experienced a lot of symptoms, your typical diabetes symptoms, until I got COVID, Christmas of 2021. And it really was at that point that I lost a ton of weight. I was kind of just down and out, not sick as in need to go to the hospital or any of those COVID things, but just really it hit my body hard. And it was at that point that I never really afterward took a long time to get my strength back, and then took a long time to gain weight. And in that time there were some symptoms like being thirsty all the time, those type of things. But went in for just basically a standard checkup, and they checked for all of those things, including checked my A1C. And when I got my A1C back, it was pretty clear that I was diabetic. It was actually a 15. Kind of a high A1C is like 12. So it was significantly high. And that was in May of 2022. So my response to being diagnosed with diabetes was a bit of a shock. I do have family history, so the thought of one day having diabetes, that wouldn't have been such a shock, but I think at my age. I'm only 42, almost 43, but I just assumed it would be much later in life. Another response I had is I actually was scared, and that's kind of hard to admit. It was kind of hard to admit in the moment as well. Like, what am I afraid of? I know my eternity is with Christ. There's not much, in this world that really can scare me when I know my hope is in Jesus. And yet that was the response in that moment. And in processing, I think it was many different reasons, probably a lot because I didn't really know much about diabetes. You only hear kind of the, not horror stories, but kind of the fact that it's with you the rest of your life and just creates complications. Just coming out of the COVID season, diabetes was a very high risk thing to have in dealing with COVID. So yeah, I think it was just a lot of the unknown, and also maybe a realization that this could be what eventually I'll die from. And being my age, you don't really think about specifically what it is that you're going to die from. And death in general is something that could happen at any time, but often is down the road a little ways, unless you're diagnosed with something. And this was that moment. Being diagnosed with diabetes kind of put a timestamp, if you will, on my life, which is odd to say, but I think that's kind of what I was processing in the moment. But my last response, and something that I've really, held on to since my diagnosis, is a deeper realization that God is in control of everything, that I don't have to worry, even though, I don't know what the future holds with this disease. I don't know how things are going to turn out, but I can trust that God has me in his hands, that this was part of his plan, and to steward this body and to steward the time that I have left here on this earth. So those were kind of, I think, my initial reactions to my diagnosis. So immediately after my diagnosis, I started working on my diet. I started to exercise a little more. Exercise has always been something that I've done, just not consistently, and I'm still working on that. But yeah, my response was very quick. I didn't mess around. I knew that this can be a serious disease, and so, being so young, I want to be around for a long time. And so my response was very swift, and I immediately got my numbers down. My next A1C, which was I think three months later, was down to a 6.5, which still a little high. Down from 15, it was really, really good. I also started educating myself, getting as much information as I could on how best to control the disease, and that's really helped. I have had to change my diet significantly, and with that comes some grieving, things that I used to love and always enjoy. I'm finding that probably the things that actually got me into this trouble to begin with are things that I just no longer can have. And so it's been a process. So I'm excited about the progress I've made, and I know it's for the long haul. I know it's going to be a long journey, but I know that I can do this. So where am I at on my journey right now? I think it's fairly new still, only 10 months in, and I know this is kind of for the rest of my life type of deal. So I'm still learning what I can eat, what I can't, still working to get my numbers lower. And is my desire and my goal that this really isn't a part of my life significantly moving forward until maybe way down the road. But it's something that I would like to deal with naturally. I'd like to go ahead and, diet and exercise, control it, and kind of get off medications, try to do it naturally as best I can. I feel like for the long term, that's going to be better for my body. The other thing that I realize is that there's just a ton of resources. I'm not alone in this. Unfortunately, this is something that's kind of a growing issue and problem in the United States and kind of around the world, is diabetes in general. And there's a lot of new things coming out, especially in diet and things like that, that will help me control this, and that's exciting. In years past, they really haven't had those options, so I'm very thankful for that. I just wanted to get on here, make this video, and kind of document my journey to this point, some of the feelings that I've had, some of the things that have been going through my head. I like to use these videos now to kind of put them out there, and so I can re-watch them. I've actually watched several of my videos from early on, and it's just funny how I totally forgot I said those things, but it's cool that I said those things, like, on whatever subject it is. Sometimes it's cool to remember, because I don't have a great memory, the things that I documented and said and such. All right, guys, this is getting long. Whoa. Thanks for coming along. We'll see you on the next one.